Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Growth Stories, the minicast where we get to the bottom of the best on-chain growth insights. This is Growth Beast, and today we've got IsReallyBadMan in charge of Levva. It's the AI-powered DeFi platform helping you optimize your portfolio at the touch of a button. So make sure to check it out, Levva.fi. Sir, it's really great to have you here, and I'd say let's just jump right in. Now, for anyone new, what is Levva in one sentence? And since you're in the process of revamping a little bit, maybe you can describe that mission as well.
Sure. It's in short a yield optimizer, but it's actually much more than that. And I'm going to do the deep dive later, along with your questions.
You've been talking about Leva 2.0 so far for the past couple of months. I know it's launching soon. Why don't you get right into it and then tell us a little more, as well as your upcoming beta bootstrapping phase?
Sure. So a couple of months ago, we asked ourselves, how do we envision that users navigate DeFi? Currently, it's not only rigged, it's really hard for anyone to access DeFi. You need lots of tools. You need to browse through, multiple pages. It's really hard to find your way. So what we said is, all right, we've got AI, we've got a battle tested protocol. It used to be called Marginally. We rebranded it to Leva. And we've got an amazing dev team with all the capabilities in the world. So we said, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to completely revamp the way users navigate DeFi. And we're going to enable everyone to access DeFi via language models, aka AI. Meaning instead of going through multiple pages and looking for certain yields, all you do is basically, hey, look, Lev AI, that's how we call it. I've got one ETH, put it into the most or best yielding strategy that you can find based on my acceptable level of risk. And in that case, that acceptable level of risk is something you would have done prior to that point with the AI. So it would just execute the whole thing basically for you. The only thing that you still need to do manually is doing like one, transaction signing, and that's it. And that's how we thought, the future would look like. And shortly after, we actually discovered that, wow, it's actually already possible. We can already do that. It requires a little bit of work, a little bit of time. But here we are 6 months later, and the product is almost done. So what we're going to do is we're going to launch this whole thing in multiple phases. And the first phase we call the Levva 2.0 Beta Bootstrapping Phase, where you can basically test the product. You mainly provide liquidity, zero risk, and in return, you accumulate points. And I can dive deeper into how the whole point system, leaderboard stuff works later. But for now, we are launching in a couple of weeks, very soon, and everyone will be able to test this and get a shot at a lot of points that will convert into a lot of Leva.
That hopefully means a lot of airdrop money for anyone interested in that specific process as well. But yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you next about your incentive season. Right, it's coming up. It's tied to this bootstrapping phase. Definitely want to have a deep dive just to kind of highlight different growth tactics, mechanics, and a lot more.
Sure. So we actually designed it in a very simple way. There are around 1,000 ranks. And in order to qualify for a rank, you need to, let's call it farm at least or accumulate at least 10,000 points. So only if you accumulate that many points, you will get a shot at being on the leaderboard and ranked. Once you are ranked, depending on the rank you achieved, you will get a certain amount of Leva once the 60-day season concludes. So putting that into example, let's say you farmed around 20,000 points over the time span of 60 days, and let's just assume that was enough to qualify for the first rank, right? Just for the sake of argument, it will definitely not. But let's just assume the first rank will get a share of 10 million Leva, and to be more specific, 1 million Leva. So that's a lot of money. And even the ranks below that will still get a large share of that 10 million Leva that we have allocated to this. But even if you get placed in the lower ranks, which usually means you haven't deposited as much, you will still get proportionally a lot of money back. Also, the most important part is always it's a beta, so it will not generate actual yield, and it will also not actually put your money to work. It's a testing phase where we collect liquidity, we bootstrap for the launch of Levva 2.0. So you face zero risk actually deploying, because your money will actually not be doing anything other than be collected. So we have enough liquidity to start Levva 2.0 and do the full launch after 60 days. So you can deploy risk-free, you can earn points, and the more you deposit, the more points you get. Oh, I also forgot how many per dollar. So it's also very easy. So for every dollar you put in there, you get 10 points. And that's a flat thing. So meaning it doesn't matter which strategy you use, or whatever you do there, you will always get 10 points. Will there be some special campaigns, some special rewards, and all of that stuff? Yes, for sure. So there's going to be some nice marketing incentives, some nice campaigns and stuff. And for that, it's really important that everyone here keeps an eye out on our social media channels for announcements, for special campaigns, for special rewards, AMAs, and all of that stuff. So it's definitely worth following us along and following our project and product, and subscribing to all of our channels to make sure that you are always on top of all the campaigns and all the benefits that we may be launching, along with the what I think is already a very competitive points farming season. We took a lot of inspiration from very successful programs like Resolve and some others on the market, and just made sure that we designed it in a way that it's really beneficial for the whole ecosystem. And yeah, so we're really excited, looking forward to that.
And for those looking for more announcements, it's Leva_Fi on Twitter. So definitely, oh, sorry, X. Get there and subscribe, follow, and make sure to participate. And you've mentioned, these four categories, right? That tie into like the vault types. Could you kind of go through them? I heard, something about safe, about degen, and then maybe mesh that with a bit more information about LevVA. I'd love to hear more.
Sure. So it's actually interesting. What we do with Leva 2.0 is not only introducing language model and AI, we are also combining actually automation with AI. So a lot of the stuff that we do, it combines the best of both worlds. So what we have is actually four predefined strategies. One of them being a custom one. So there's like a super safe strategy that's like making sure that it invests the money in the most conservative way possible, making the highest guarantee that you can make, considering the asset and what we're doing, which is never 100%, of course. There's always some risk, but it's the lowest of these scenarios, right? And then we have two other strategies that are sort of, taking a little bit more risk, but making a little bit more rewards for you as well. But they're still very conservative. And then we have a fourth option, and that's really an interesting one, because it's currently called custom. We used to call it degen. Let's see where we end up with it. But it basically involves leverage, which is very interesting because it's needed actually to get you to the point where you get the really juicy rewards and where it gets really interesting. And that's why we used to call it DeFi degen, because to all the farmers and DeFi degens, I think that's the product you will be looking at. And you may ask, so why should I do this? Why should I not, just use regular DeFi protocols? The answer is really simple. The way we designed everything is basically taking all the work off your chest. So it's super simple. You get the same results, but you save hours of executing all these looping strategies, making sure you remember where you put what, right? Usually you start with one protocol and then you deploy it into another. You borrow here, you land there, and at some point you create this loop that is hard to remember. With us, it's all done within a click, right? You just sign the transaction, that's it. And the rest is being taken care of. But it consists of all these strategies that you would include in your loop manually. So all these protocols and leverage, Pendle, and all of that good stuff, it's already included into that customized strategy. But that's only phase one. And phase one is already, I think, very competitive and stronger than anything that I've seen in the market so far in terms of, or as far as, products that are already out and released. But we are currently taking it even a step further because our amazing devs actually, or have been working on a much deeper integration of AI agents and AI that we think will be able at the end of the year to execute whole strategies almost automatically and autonomously, so without much intervention, provided that you give them some parameters which they are supposed to follow. And this is currently in testing, but it's already working so well that we think that we can release a first version of this with the release of Levva 2.0. But again, really important to differentiate here between Levva 2.0 beta, that's our points farming season for 60 days. After the 60 days, once the points farming season concludes, we will release Levva 2.0. There will be like a direct transition to Levva 2.0. And it's basically the same thing. Nothing will change in terms of incentives and in terms of how the leaderboard and all the rewards work. The only difference is that now, on top of all of that, you get actual yield. Plus, we will make some other adjustments and some other nice incentives that I don't want to share now. But as we get closer to the Levva 2.0 release, we will be sharing these details as well.
Fantastic. Okay, so Levva 2.0 beta is no APY, but a lot of a lot of points, 10 million Levva, whereas Levva 2.0 launches somewhere in the fall, right? 60 days later, and it's got APY plus points and a lot more Levva as well. So yeah, there's definitely quite the process there. And this actually ties into my next question, which is, you've started from like this sign up page, like we're talking bare bones web 2, like solid marketing, right? Had a lot of verified emails and signups, and then you're moving on to the beta and then to the actual official launch. Kind of like, what's the reasoning behind that? What do you think drove this success? 200,000 emails, that's quite the number. Love to know more.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that I forgot to mention, right? So we started with this sign up phase where you can basically sign up to our email list and then qualify for some nice rewards and be the first one basically to be notified once the beta goes live. And initially we didn't think too much about it, other than it's a great way of onboarding plenty of users before we launch, and that's it. We had some expectations, of course, but as soon as we launched, we were basically blown away. Like it's, I remember the first day we hit like 20K subscribers or something like that. And then, shortly after a week or so, I think we already hit the 200K mark. And we even had to shut down the subscribe list because, the rewards were not covering that anymore. So it's basically oversubscribed, right? It was basically, too much success. So we had to shut it down. But we received many questions regarding, oh, can I still participate in Levva 2.0 beta? And the short answer is yes. The thing with the waitlist is that you qualify for some specific rewards that regular users now won't get. However, it's still highly beneficial to just join the beta, right? For all the reasons already stated. It was just sort of like an icing on the cake type of thing that these 200,000 users qualified for. And if think about it, for all the token holders and everyone who believes in the project and who has some type of stake in it, 200,000 subscribers means there is a high interest already in the product. There is a high chance that our product and market will be a fit, and we believe so too, for all the reasons that are already stated. So phase one we consider to be almost completed, which is the sign up, sort of pre-interest phase, and it's been a huge success so far. Now we're heading into phase two, which is the beta, which is finally the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Right now, everyone can test it, and we can show, the proof is there. It's actually working. It's usable, but it's not quite there yet, right? So it's like in beta still. We are still testing. We're still, collecting liquidity and bootstrapping everything. So we are building this engine, this machine, really, which is set to be released then after the 60 days, and which then brings us to the last phase, the third one, which is the Levva 2.0 release, which, will basically include all of the features promised. It will include, the points farming still, but it will, and that's something that we haven't mentioned actually much, is it will include this new UI, right? Not only AI, but also this new interface and user experience that we've designed to really simplify everything as much as possible. It's the simplest experience that you can have. And I think what we will trigger with this may be a moment like, we've seen with the internet, or some other stages in history where, certain products really enable to onboard the masses, where previously it was basically a niche product was just some selected few users using it. And then, Microsoft, for example, came along and released an operating system, and suddenly everyone was able to use computers. Whereas before, you had to open up the console and you had to type in commands, right? Unthinkable for anyone to use, really unthinkable. And back then, rightfully so, there were many articles in the news and everywhere. This is probably not going to be a product for the masses. A couple of years later, it was. And I think we're doing the same here. We have the technology, blockchain. Back then, it was computers, personal home computers. And back then, Microsoft released this new operating system to enable to onboard the masses. And now we, Levva, released this new operating system, which will enable us to onboard the masses to blockchain.
Fully agree. And love the comparison with the OSs, especially since my dad used to tell me how he would input commands during his time as a student. So this is really cool. And 200,000 is like, yeah, definitely massive interest. So I hope it really, the launch goes really well. People, I think those who sign up are getting 500 leva and about 1,000 points, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
when they actually participate in the Levva 2.0 beta and Levva 2.0 launch. So definitely make sure to go there and then get it done. And actually, some alpha here. This specific episode will grant you a badge that will grant you even more points. That to be announced right when this launches, but definitely mint this as much as possible. This will guarantee you get on top of that leaderboard faster than ever. All right, we're wrapping up. I want to know one thing for someone listening today. What's the first thing you want them to do next?
So I think the most important part is subscribe to all of our channels, join Discord, join Telegram. I think if I had to pick one channel, it's probably gonna be X, even though I think so. It depends a little bit, right? So if you like to ask questions, if you like to be curious, really involved in the whole thing, uh, personal support and all of that stuff, join Discord. If you just want to be up to speed with everything, don't miss out on any chance to earn some extra rewards and to, put your money to work into the protocol, follow us on X. If you are somewhere in between where you still would like, to get all the messages, all the news, but also occasionally ask a quick question, but you just want to do it really like in an easy way, without having to navigate to a certain subgroup, join us on Telegram. It's just one channel. You can just drop your question and that's it. And a moderator or something, like I'm active there every day. Um, I will just be trying, or I will just be answering your question most likely there. So do that now.
Again, that is Levva_fi on X and then Levva.fi as a website. Definitely check it out. It looks really cool. It's got the sign up page, which is unfortunately oversubscribed, but make sure to go check out the beta once it's live. And again, this episode is mintable. We'll give you a lot of points as a badge if you mint it. So make sure to mint it once it's live on Pause.media and on other channels. Sir, it's been great having you over. I really want to see how Levva's pushing it forward, and can't wait to have you again in 6 to 12 months to talk about how the launch went. And hopefully post a massive bull run.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure.